Hi, I'm Cece, and this is my story. Before I begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, new MSA merch alert! Our latest bottles and notebooks are out now. Grab them via the link in the description and upgrade your gear. I was born in Paris, the city of love. Love was everywhere, in the heart-shaped cakes in the bakeries, in the balloons all the street merchants sold under the Eiffel Tower, and in the random rounds of applause whenever someone proposed publicly, which happened like 100 times a day. Yeah, love was everywhere, except our house. My earliest memories are of my parents fighting over the tiniest things, and of Lola, my sister who was 7 years older, distracting me. I got you new furniture for your dollhouse. Let's rearrange it in my room. Why are Mom and Dad yelling? Are they gonna be okay? Of course they'll be okay. Parents fight. This is normal. Don't worry. It didn't feel normal. It felt like my whole world was going to crumble down, and the only stable thing around me was Lola. When our parents eventually divorced, Mom moved to Italy to become an opera singer, and Dad soon realized his mistake and spiraled. He locked himself up in their room, and we rarely saw him. From that moment onwards, Lola became my unofficial parent. You cannot eat ice cream before dinner! You're not my real mom! Why did you fail math? I spent my whole week tutoring you! You're not my real mom! It's fair to say, I drove Lola crazy. She was forced to become my mother at a very young age, and I could be a brat. Also, I kinda ruined her plans for the future and her relationship with her very serious boyfriend, Jordan. Jordan and Lola had planned to go away to college together. Seeing that Lola had to work and take care of me since our dad was useless, Jordan left her and went off to college on his own.
I'm sorry, Lola. There isn't a place for both me and Cece in your life. This is it for us.
I felt guilty that Lola had lost both her boyfriend and her dreams, so I no longer wanted to give her a hard time. I started paying attention in class, helping her around the house, and even preparing her favorite meals and desserts. Ugh, there is no love like sisterly love, Cece. Never forget that. We only have each other in this life. One day, as I was working at my part-time cashier job in a coffee shop, I noticed a very rich-looking guy staring at me. I could feel his gaze without even lifting my head. Naturally, I decided to stare back until he got uncomfortable and broke eye contact. But he was a tough opponent. Give it up, creep. Didn't your mommy teach you it's rude to stare at people? But he still didn't flinch. He insisted on being in the line I was serving, even though the other one was empty.
One Americano, please.
Will that be all?
How about your number on the side?
I just stood there with a poker face until he finally gave up and said,
Yes, that will be all.
One Americano coming up. Name?
Ben.
That'll be €4, Ben. He gave me 100 and told me to keep the change with a wink. Nice try, jerk. If you think you can buy my number, you're sadly mistaken. Take your stupid money.
I'm just a generous tipper, girl. But I will get your number eventually. And by the way, your eyes are gorgeous.
And then he left. I wish I had shoved that change in his stupid face. Oh well. I could just use it to buy Lola something nice. This rich jerk kept coming back every day, and I'd always notice he had bodyguards waiting outside the shop for him. One day he came in when the place was empty.
I won't leave until you give me your number.
Then I hope you brought a change of clothes and a toothbrush.
You know, Cece, not to be a self-centered jerk, but I'm a great catch.
If you're so great, why are you so desperate to get my number?
Determined is a better term. I enjoy a hard challenge, and I just can't get you out of my head.
Then get a new head.
I would, but I have great hair.
You're not getting my number, weirdo.
We'll see.
For the next few weeks, he showed up with extravagant gifts, like a full mariachi band or roses that filled up the stores and customers couldn't get in. My boss finally snapped and told me to handle the situation or I was out. Of course, I couldn't get fired. I had to help Lola with the household expenses. So I caved and gave him my number. I'd just block him later. When I told my coworkers what happened, they all burst out laughing and started showing me his pictures on the internet. Turns out, he wasn't just a rich kid, but a famous actor as well. Apparently, he had bought the staff's silence because he didn't want me to go out with him simply for being famous. To my surprise, he wasn't that big of a jerk either. He was crazy romantic, like crazy romantic. One day, I mentioned that I was craving pizza, so he insisted on going to Napoli for lunch. I thought he managed to get last-minute tickets on a plane to Italy, but turns out we were going with his private jet.
You know, Cece, when I first met you and realized that you didn't know who I was, I felt truly alive. I had a rare opportunity to introduce myself however I liked to someone who didn't already have some opinions about me.
Well, for future reference, you didn't do a great job at it. He came off as a creep.
Yeah, you made that very clear. Don't worry.
He was sweet, charming, and attentive, and I found myself falling for him. I was hesitant to bring Ben home to see our poor house and meet my useless dad. Only when I made sure he actually loved me and accepted me no matter what, I invited him to dinner. But Lola wasn't too enthusiastic about him. You're spending too much time with him, Cece. Boys are trouble and a distraction. You should be focusing on your studies to get into a good college instead of dating flamboyant stars. I'm not a kid anymore. Don't worry about me. Also, I can do both. Then, Ben and I went public, and he started taking me to all his premieres and movie sets. Sometimes, I would miss school and travel with him wherever he went. Lola was furious about this. I did not break my back to keep you in school and give up on my dreams so you can live in some stupid fairy tale with a boyfriend. Fairy tales aren't real. I'm grateful for the things that you've done, but you can't keep holding that over my head. You also chose to do this, and I try to pitch in. You're welcome to stop caring for me now and go back to school. You're an ungrateful brat, Cece. You just met this boy. You're not his first love, nor the last. Don't get too used to this lifestyle, cause it won't be long before he drops you. Then we'll see what you'll do, kiddo. You almost sound like you resent me for getting a taste of the good life. Just let me be, Lola. But she didn't let me be. One day, I came home after a trip to Hollywood and found Lola waiting for me in the dark. Have a seat. OMG, you freak! You scared me! I think you should see this. What's this? Your Prince Charming isn't so innocent. I hired a private detective to follow him around. See for yourself. I couldn't believe Lola would go that far. Where did she even get the money to do this? In the folder she gave me, I found pictures of Ben in Saint-Tropez playing volleyball with many models and screenshots of him replying to other girls' stories on Instagram. That didn't really bother me till I saw a photo of him having dinner with one of his exes, and they were holding hands. I felt utterly disgusted and couldn't believe Lola was right. Ben had already left on another trip for 2 weeks, so I just blocked his number and blocked him on all the socials too. And I promised Lola that I'd never speak to him again. But I did find myself missing him. So, instead of caving and unblocking him, I decided to watch one of his movies. So, one evening, there I was, engrossed in his latest spy film and a family-sized pizza topped with pepperoni and my salty tears, when I caught a glimpse of something outside my window. It was Ben, swinging from a rope off the roof like a low-budget action hero. I quickly opened the window before he fell down and smashed his most valuable asset, his money-making face. What are you doing?
Well, it was impossible to reach you by any normal means, and Lola wouldn't let me in, so I thought I could swing outside your window until you tell me what's wrong.
Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I wouldn't know about your affairs?
What the?
You heard me. I know all about Saint-Tropez and your DMs with other girls, and the dinner with your ex. I showed him the pictures, and to my surprise, he burst out laughing and tussled my hair.
You dummy, you. Well, first, these so-called models are my cousins. Gross. I can't help it if we're all a good-looking bunch. Secondly, these DMs are made by a very famous fake account. Everyone on Earth knows this person is acting like me. How did you even miss this?
Okay, fine, but what about the dinner? How are you going to justify that?
Well, now that's embarrassing. I got an anonymous call telling me that this big-time director wanted to meet me to discuss his upcoming superhero franchise, for which he wanted to cast me. I smelled something fishy because the call didn't come through my manager, but I was too afraid to miss the opportunity, so I went. There I found my ex, who had received the exact same call. It was obviously some kind of stupid setup, but there wasn't even any paparazzi around that we could see. And here I'm holding her hand because she's telling me her cat died. I didn't bring this meeting up because it wasn't anything important.
Do you honestly think I believe that?
Yes. Do you know why? I voice recorded all my calls and meetings, so here you go.
Oh man, he humbled me quickly and left me speechless. I hated being proved wrong.
But where did you get these pictures? Did you hire someone to stalk me?
Don't flatter yourself. They were thrown my way. Don't think for a minute that I'm obsessed with you.
Cece, baby, it's too late. I've seen you eat that pizza with snot and tears crying over me.
I hit him with the cushion as he laughed, then he hugged me. The next morning, I told Lola everything, but she wasn't relieved or happy. And you believe him? You're so naive, Cece. Well, I know him more than you or your private detective. He's an honest guy who loves and spoils me. Can't you just be happy for me? You're my sister. Is that too much to expect? Lola looked at me and then sighed. You're right. I suppose I can give him a chance. I was only trying to protect you. He seems too good to be true. I know, but maybe I lucked out and he doesn't have any skeletons in his closet? Yeah, maybe. But just as I thought everything was on track, it all exploded in my face. One morning, as I was watching the news, I saw a picture of Ben's father shaking hands with some thug.
In the latest Hollywood drama, the famous businessman, also known as Ben's father, is allegedly smuggling illegal goods and accepting bribes. Does this mark the fall of his empire and possibly Ben's reputation and career too?
As I watched in horror, I suddenly noticed Lola standing behind the couch, a huge, evil smirk on her face, and the realization washed over me. Lola was somehow behind this. Lola! My scream shook the house, and I turned around to pounce on her. Even Dad, who hadn't come out of his room in ages, came out running as we rolled around on the floor. How dare you humiliate Ben and his family like that? What did you do? Just use some AI-generated images. Ow! Calm down, will you? I'm doing what's best for you. This is what's best for me? Ruining my relationship and someone's life? How could you do that? Ben was nothing but nice to you. I've been nothing but nice to you. What is your problem? And then Lola's face twisted with rage. My problem is you thinking you deserve to go off and live your fairy tale life with your stupid, perfect boyfriend when I gave up everything for you. So what? I should just live here and take care of our useless dad after giving up on my boyfriend and my dreams? And it was all for you. Finally, the truth comes out. You jealous, horrible dinosaur. I slapped her hard. You selfish, ungrateful pig. Our epic slap showdown kept going until our palms were sore and Dad finally intervened. I stormed off and shut myself up in my room. How could I tell Ben my sister ruined his family's reputation? I tried calling him to see how he was taking it, but I couldn't reach him or anyone from his family or managers. He just disappeared from the face of the earth. I joined my dad in despair and didn't leave my room when Lola was in the house. And I certainly didn't leave the house. One night, as I was watching one of Ben's films, I heard loud knocks on the door and police sirens outside. Dad and I got out of our rooms quickly, only to find the police taking Lola away.
You're being detained on suspicion of defamation through made-up evidence. You have the right to remain silent.
Lola, I swear, I had nothing to do with this. I know, Cece, I did. Lola turned herself in? But why? I rushed to prison after her and waited until I managed to see her. Why did you do that? I couldn't bear seeing you so miserable. I already lost Mom and Dad, and I can't stand the thought of losing you too. I was afraid you'd go off with your prince one day, and I'd be alone and miserable, and I got really jealous and selfish. Ben made you happy, and you deserve that. Now that it's public his father was framed, I'm sure he'll turn up again. I was speechless. I believed Lola regretted what she'd done, but she had to pay the price for it now. And Ben would get to hear that it was Cece behind everything and would make sure he stayed away from me forever. But one day, as I was leaving the police station after visiting Lola, I bumped into Ben. I thought I'd never see you again.
My family and I were advised to stay low and not to talk to anyone till the matter was cleared up. Now I'm here to pay Lola's bail, and we're dropping all charges against her.
What? Why would you do that?
Because she turned herself in, so she obviously regrets it. And because I love you, and she's your sister. And because I'm confident that I can win her over too. I wore you down, didn't I?
You sure did. And I love you too.